The riches of the sea. Who knows what wealth and secrets lie hidden there in the ocean? But this we know, that so much of man's history has been annexed by the deep waters. India is one of the few countries striving to recover evidence hidden in the seas. It has embarked on marine archaeology to explore sunken cities. For some years now, Professor S.R. Rao and his colleagues have been engaged in a challenging effort. They are striving to retrieve the lost chapters in the history of a city, Dwarka, the city of Lord Krishna. Professor Rao has worked for 32 years for the Archaeological Survey of India. He is now emeritus scientist and heads the Marine Archaeological Department in the National Institute of Oceanography. Professor Rao says,
submerged cities and sunken ships are great treasure houses of our cultural heritage, which must be preserved. To this end, marine archaeologists undertake excavation of sunken ships and submerged cities. India, with its 5,000-year history of maritime trade, has played a vital role in dockyard construction and shipbuilding. For instance, the first tidal dock of the world was built at Lothal on the west coast of India by the Harappans in 2300 BC. The sea, which is a great source of wealth, can also be a source of danger. Thousands of ships have sunk in storms, and several flourishing ports have disappeared as a result of the rising sea. India is one of the very few countries in the world which has set up a marine archaeology center for excavating sunken ships and submerged ports. The center at the National Institute of Oceanography has given high priority for exploration of Dwarka, which is said to have been founded by Lord Krishna, whose colorful personality has permeated the fabric of Indian social and cultural life.
This is the holy Mathura, the birthplace of Lord Krishna. The site is also known as Krishna Janmabhoomi. The divine child born in a prison was exchanged for a baby girl, and for this it was carried across the river Yamuna to Gokula. Miniatures show him being punished for stealing butter, killing the demon Putani, protecting women, and warding off the evil eye. He was a disciple of the sage Sandipini. He sported with the gopis, the lovely damsels. He killed the ferocious bull demon. Here is a scene from Gokula, the boy Krishna dancing with the gopis. The place is even now identified as part of Gokula. But trouble descends even on Krishna's Mathura. Krishna has killed the evil king Kamsa, and Kamsa's father-in-law, Jarasandha, harasses Mathura with his relentless attacks. Krishna decides to lead his citizens to a safer place. He chooses Dwarka on the Gomati at the point where the river joins the Arabian Sea. The city is today situated on the west coast of India in Jamnagar district in Okhamandal. But why did Krishna choose this site? In this very place, one of his ancestors, Kukudmin Raivata, had founded a capital, Kushasthali. So arose a great city, Dwarka, where lived one who shaped the destiny of India, Lord Krishna. Kings and seers wended their way to the holy city to see the greatest and the wisest of men. Among them are the Vaghers, who claim to belong to Krishna's Yadava clan. Today, pilgrims throng from every part of India to see the city and the sacred temple of Dwarkadisha, the Lord of Dwarka. The temple was constructed in the 15th century and is a majestic sight. Rising to a height of 157 feet, it has a vestibule and an assembly hall, both imposing. Time and the sea had begun to affect the limestone. Modern methods are being employed to preserve the structure. Glorious indeed. But is this the real Dwarka of Lord Krishna's days? Where is the real evidence?
What actually prompted me to undertake onshore and offshore excavation at Dwarka is the controversy that was raging about the date and historicity of Mahabharata. The Deccan College, Pune, excavated in 1963 Dwarka and came to the conclusion that it was the Dwarka of Mahabharata period. But Dr. Sankalia expressed the opinion that the first settlement at Dwarka could not have been earlier than the 1st century AD or BC. This, of course, was contrary to all established facts of history, because Mahabharata war and the founding of Dwarka cannot be post-Mauryan events. When I demolished a modern building, some temple of Vishnu of 9th century came to light below the building. This prompted me to take further deeper excavation, and ultimately I came across a 15th century BC settlement.
Here the sea has offered thrilling glimpses of a fascinating past. At the lowest level, there is clear evidence that the cold waters have closed over an ancient human settlement. A distinct pottery, known as lustrum redware, has been found here. At Prabhasa, another Mahabharata site, this pottery has been dated back to about 1500 BC. So the inference is obvious. Here, at about the same period, flourished the city of Dwarka, which the sea annexed later. As time passes, the sea rises and mercilessly extends its empire. The charts show the rise of the sea all over the world, including America. Seawater rises by about 60 meters in 10,000 years. When Dwarka was founded, the sea stood 10 meters lower than it does today. The chart led to another site, Bet Dwarka, which lies some 30 kilometers from the present Dwarka. Bet Dwarka also is associated with Lord Krishna. Dwarka is described in the Mahabharata as Vari Durga, that is, a fortress in water. This island is considered as holy as Dwarka itself. It was once connected with the mainland. The eastern shore disclosed remains of the proto-historic period. The ancient fortification spanned more than half a kilometer. Remains of the ancient city were found at the northern end, known as Balapur. Clearly, onshore excavation was indicated and proved rewarding. This was evidently a shell-working center. Pottery of the proto-historic period was also discovered here. A massive fortification wall about 550 meters in perimeter gradually came into view. This remained submerged all the time except in the lowest low tides. Successive layers of masonry appeared, confirming that this was a man-made structure. Box technique has been employed here. It is now clear that Dwarka was fortified. Here too, pottery of proto-historic times has been discovered. Bet Dwarka is also known as Shankodhara. Shanka is a conch. The place has a rich harvest of conch shells. Shell fishing was evidently an important industry. Excavation here also yielded a variety of artifacts like bangles, vessels, and seals. Underwater excavation was rewarded with very significant antiquities. Among them were lustrous redware and related pottery, seals, inscribed jars, and stone blades. Here has survived a special type of vessel known as perforated jar. This is associated with the late Harappan civilization. Other interesting articles also found here The inscription on the jar is in the late Harappan script, Mahagatcha Shahapa. It means, Sea Lord protect us. How is it read? The chart shows how. Here are some artifacts, such as a coppersmith's mold, chart plates, bangles of shell, vessels, seals, and inlays. The columnella of the conch shell bears clear marks which indicate how it was worked. Excavation in the seabed was rewarded with this unique seal, 18 by 20 millimeters. It is made of shell. Look at the three animals. Anti-clockwise they are a bull, a unicorn, and a goat. Notice the exaggerated eye and the emaciated body of the animals. They resemble animals on seals found in Bahrain. From Bet Dwarka back to Dwarka, the team undertook offshore excavation. In the first few years, this was limited to 1 to 1.5 kilometers seaward from off the temple of Lord Samudra Narayana, or the sea god. The team engaged a well-equipped research vessel. First, the baseline, the position of the structure, etc., were fixed with a sextant. The method is simple. The diver follows a swimline technique. As soon as he notices a structure, A marker buoy is placed and its position is fixed. The diver is fully equipped for his task. He is getting ready to probe one of the sites. How was the site chosen? Traditionally, sailors make offerings here to Samudra Narayana. So this seemed to be the right place, and so it was.
जले तस्मिन् सागरो मकरालयः द्वारकामृतसम्पूर्णा जलेन प्लावयतु तदा.
A remarkable feature needs to be mentioned. The masonry proved to be of dressed stones, the material being sandstone. And that reminded the researchers that dressed stones had been used with undressed stones by the Harappans in Kutch. At the end of each day, the director discussed the finds with his colleagues. They were assessed. The first Indian conference on marine archaeology of Indian Ocean countries met in Jamnagar in October 1987. Scientists from India and abroad attended the conference. Among them were Dr. Kelly from the United States, Professor Rao, and Dr. Flinder, founder chairman of the International Society for Nautical Archaeology. Dr. Flinder observes, the Marine Archaeology Conference demonstrated the excellent and expert work that has been commenced at the ancient site of Dwarka. The participation of many scientists and academics from allied disciplines emphasized the interdisciplinary nature of marine archaeology. After the Jamnagar conference, Professor Rao and his team returned to their work with redoubled zeal. They resumed excavation about 1.5 kilometers seaward of Dwarka. He discusses the schedule of work for the day. Divers have to prepare drawings of the structures. He gives them instructions. To facilitate documentation, a grid is placed in the trenches. The diver plots the finds on a predetermined scale. There is plenty of work to do. The structures are buried under sediment and vegetation. The diver must remove them manually or with an airlift. Only after the preliminary clearance can the diver know the alignment of the structure built of massive blocks of stone. The fort wall has some salients, like circular bastions, flanking the entrance gateways. Ancient texts describing the town plan of Dwarka refer to them. In passing, something very interesting may be mentioned. When Lord Krishna was away from the city, King Salva of Shaubha attacked it. Krishna returned to find the land laid waste. He devised measures to protect the city and prevent infiltration. For example, every citizen was required to carry a mudra or seal for identification. The entire site is gridded. Every square is plotted, giving details of masonry and of portable finds while in situ. The diver prepares the drawing. It is then examined by the director and the features are discussed. Of the significant finds, special mention must be made of perforated stone anchors. The threefold triangular anchors were found lying in a line near the jetty. They are almost identical with the anchors found in Cyprus and Syria, which go back to 1400 to 1200 BC. Wooden stakes are fixed in these holes, and thus a firm grip is secured in the seabed. There is evidence of trade links between India and Syria and Cyprus even in the 2nd millennium BC. As vegetation was carefully cleared, a massive pillar and a pedestal came into view. After the antiquities are plotted in situ and photographed, they are brought to the surface with great care. Careful hand fanning was rewarded with discovery of copper and bronze articles like a bell and decorative arches, which were probably used for ritualistic purposes. Stratigraphic evidence is needed. So marine archaeologists in India have resorted to controlled digging within 4 walls of a steel caisson. The airlift sucks the sediment with the antiquities without damaging the fortification. Also, the inflow can be limited to material of a particular period. The diver airlifts the overburden. The antiquities are given first aid and then entered in the antiquities register. The chronological horizon of each find is determined. The finds are sent to laboratories for further treatment. Pottery was dated at the Physical Research Laboratory in Ahmedabad using the thermoluminescence technique. The date arrived at is 3,520 years ago for period 1 and 2,000 years for period 2. Marine archaeology is a journey in time through the innocent-looking waters of the sea. This wrestling with time and the mighty waters in order to recover history is both challenging and exhilarating. Yes, Dr. Rao's mission demands immense patient labor, but the gradual unfolding of the vision of Dwarka as it stood 35 centuries ago is a thrilling reward.
The present findings corroborate the description of the city of Dwarka as given in the Mahabharata, that it was a Varidurga, that is, a fortress in water. The artist's impression based on the findings gives a clear picture as to how Dwarka looked like. Now that the existence of the ancient city of Dwarka in 1500 BC and its submergence as stated in the Mahabharata have been proved, we plan to explore further seaward about 10 kilometers from the present site by resorting to geophysical survey and also remote sensing. These findings have now opened up new vistas in the frontiers of marine archaeology and underwater cultural heritage along the Indian coast.